All right, Neox, or maybe how French would say new, which is not a new GriGri. Petzl is listing this as a completely new belay device, so let's see why. I had this for about 5 months. I did a bunch of climbing, I did a bunch of testing, and I have a bunch of mixed feelings about this Neox. So, about a year ago, I got an email from Sebastian Petzl. Turns out that his grandpa developed the original idea of GriGri. So I felt very honored by such email, and he offered me to test this and said that I can say whatever I want about it. So this video is not sponsored by Petzl. Now, what was funny, when later I was exchanging details with someone from Petzl team, and they said that it is safe even in the case of your strange experiments. In case you haven't seen, I have made a video explaining the physics of how GriGri works, and I showed a bunch of ways how it would not work.
Oh shit!
So, let's do some of those strange experiments and compare GriGri with Neox. While GriGri weighs 175 grams, Neox broke my scale, because my scale doesn't like belay devices above 200 grams. But jokes aside, it's 60 grams heavier. And if you would hold them side by side, you would feel a difference. However, this extra weight did not seem to bother me much while belaying. Now, while GriGri has a very simple mechanism where a bunch of frictional forces contribute to overcoming the tension in the spring, and then the cam moves and pinches the rope. Again, I have explained everything in this video, and it's very interesting, and I highly recommend to see that, because Neox actually kept all of that design. You can see there is still same spring camming action, but now we have a wheel which can spin, but also it can move up and down. And if it's in up position, the wheel is blocked from spinning. And at that point, it acts essentially the same as GriGri. So, what does all of that mean in practice? Well, let's start with the good. The rope does run really smoothly through the device. It's actually very satisfying. It's super smooth. However, notice that while I'm feeding slack, I'm not touching the device. And if this is how you like belaying, maybe you are coming from tubular style devices, you can probably stop this video right here, go buy this, and you will be really satisfied. Thank you for watching. Now, if you stayed, let me present some of my speculations. I think when Petzl was developing the original GriGri, this smooth action was actually what they were trying to achieve. However, if you try to feed the slack like this with original GriGri, depending on your rope thickness and many other factors, it's very likely that the GriGri will simply lock and you will have some trouble. But creative climbers came up with a solution, is to press on the cam to disengage it and continue feeding slack like this, which actually worked so well that if you would go to any, at least Europe crags, you would see that majority of people is belaying like this right now. And of course, there is many wrong ways how to do this, and I showed a bunch of wrong ways in the same video. However, if you keep the rope in your brig hand, even if you are pressing on the cam and the climber would fall at that moment, the GriGri is most likely to lock. And actually, if you check the manual of GriGri, you will find this listed as an option of giving slack fast. But guess what? If you check the manual of Neox, there is only one way to give slack now. So here are some more of my speculations. Original GriGri is actually designed so well that it's quite hard to make it fail. And that's why it became so popular. And that's why so many of bad ways of using it became very popular. And that's why we still have accidents with it, unfortunately. So this all brought a lot of bad rep for the GriGri, which is kind of strange when one of the safest devices is the most criticized probably devices. And this is what I think Petzl tried to fix by hinting that, you know what, do not touch the device. However, giving slack like this became so popular not only because this other method wasn't always reliable. Giving slack like this is actually more comfortable, and belaying like this is more comfortable. And here are a couple of reasons. I can always give as much slack as I want, and my belay device is not falling down while I'm doing that, and I'm in a comfortable position. Now with Neox, you can actually give slack quite fast, but the belay device will be bouncing all over the place. However, there is another issue. If I give slack, and I prepare to give more slack, and now I need to take. Well, guess what? First I need to bring my brake hand closer to the device before I can take. So I need to do some arm juggling, and only then I can take. With the other method, if I'm giving slack and suddenly I need to take, well, I just take. That's much more practical. So can you belay like this with Neox? Well, the manual doesn't say anything about this. I tried asking Petzl and I still haven't received a reply to my emails. So if I will add a pinned comment. Now in practice, it does work, but check this out or listen this out. So yeah, it makes a ratcheting sound when you try to pull the rope fast. And when I gave this device to my friends to try, they were like, is this broken? So I think it's not broken, however, it's very noticeable. And if you're in a very quiet crag and somebody does, I can only imagine when this will become even more popular, and this is gonna happen in the crags. Okay, let's say you don't care about tranquility at the crags. People shout there anyway, blast music, have dogs that are barking, so a bit of krr is no problem for you. And the only thing you care is it safe? So same as GriGri, if you press on the cam but do not hold the rope, your climber is going to unalive. And since the rope runs smoother through Neox, he or she will unalive faster. So hold the rope. Now, what about a completely no hands situation? First, let's start with a GriGri, which, as you can see, can definitely slip. But now let's switch to Neox. Whoa, it falls faster. It actually falls faster, it falls smoother. Yeah, you can have a smooth death. It kind of wants to lock, it goes like crick, 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 but it's not enough for it to lock. Yeah, seems like GriGri is more grabby and more likely to stop the fall in case of no hand situation. So it looks like a slight downgrade compared to the GriGri in terms of safety. And they said I won't be able to make it fail with my strange experiments. But let's switch the gears a little bit and let's talk about taking the slack. Since the rope runs much smoother through the device, my initial thought was that it's gonna be much easier to take the slack. For the last 5 months when I went climbing, I kept alternating between Neox and GriGri. And I couldn't understand if it's easier to help the climber with the new device or not. So let's do some more of my strange experiments, as they say. First, I tried simple jump taking. But it was very hard to feel the difference, except that Neox was clicking. So then I built this setup where I could compare the force needed to lift up my weights, essentially comparing the friction inside the belay device. Yeah, so it's moving up at 0.65. 0.64. So let's try the same with the old GriGri. For some reason it feels harder, but it's reading the same. 63. Interesting. 65. Same. Felt the same. So I tried with 60 kilograms and I couldn't feel the difference. I tried with 40 kilograms and there still was no difference, which left me so confused that I probably tried 1,000 of times to measure it again and again and again until I just stopped the camera and I noticed something which now absolutely makes sense. Remember when I said that the wheel can go up, and once it's in up position, it's locked, and then it acts the same as GriGri? Well, duh. It only spins while it's under certain load, so it's easier, but if you load it more, then it locks, and then it's the same. So this is 30 kilograms, the wheel spins, and then it locks, and now the wheel is not spinning anymore. So now I want to figure out what's the load needed for the wheel to stop spinning and stop helping. Let's try 20 kilograms. Okay, so now it's doing this weird clicky clacky thing. So that pretty much explains why this happens. Let's see at what weight it would just spin freely and be nice. So at 15. And it goes easy to pull, hard, easy, hard, easy, hard, easy, hard. It's like okay, this is only 5 kilos. It's still clicking, but less. So it seems like above 20 kilos, it's permanently locked. Below 20 kilos, it's clicking, clack, 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 clack. And only on very, very, very minimal loads, it's running very smoothly. So disappointing. I want it always to run smoothly and then catch fast. That would be ideal device. Clack, 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 clack. So yeah, it is easier to run the rope through the device without load, but as soon as the load is applied, which is when you're helping your climber, it will start clicky clacky, and then at some point there is no difference anymore. So kind of an improvement, but could be better. Oh, and also another thing. When I'm going down, sometimes the wheel needs to click back into certain position before it's smooth again. This is kind of annoying when you're belaying. Sometimes when you want to lower the climber just a little bit, there is this little jerk of like click, and then it's smooth for the rest of the time. Let me show you this again. So, what's the big takeaway of all of this new invention? I absolutely love how smooth the rope runs through the device now. Don't get me wrong, this is fantastic. I'm impressed by this design. And if you are belaying like this, then as I already said, this is a massive upgrade to you and you should definitely buy this. You will be very happy. Otherwise, I do understand the direction that Petzl took. However, I think that this is a little bit of missed opportunity. Original GriGri was one of the safest devices on the market, and if only instead of trying to advocate us to keep the hands away from it, they would have made it somehow always lock, maybe similar to Revo. If the rope is running at certain speed, maybe it would lock. That would be amazing. And no clicky sounds, please. And maybe improve a little bit ergonomic, how you are holding the device. And that would be the perfect belaying device for me, personally. All right, now the best part for me of making these nerdy videos is the geeky, nerdy people who leave comments on my stuff. I actually feel very honored by that. And if you are one of these smart, nerdy, or geeky people, or maybe you want to be, then you might enjoy today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in math, data analysis, programming, and even AI. I always thought that I am a visual learner and I can simply soak up all the information by just watching YouTube. However, I've been really enjoying Brilliant for its structured approach, which also makes you solve problems in a fun and interactive way, which is really great for developing your critical thinking and actually remembering things. And if you accidentally jump ahead of your own abilities and get completely stuck, they also have courses on very basics, so you can fill up your knowledge gaps very easily. And since the lessons are bite-sized, you can do them anywhere, anytime, just with your phone, even if you just have 5 minutes. So here you go, a small daily habit that would compound into you being smarter. Highly recommend it. And you can try it completely for free for 30 days by visiting brilliant.org/hardiseasy. And if you enjoy it as much as I do, you will also get 20% off their annual premium subscription. So enjoy being smarter, enjoy climbing, and see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.